Okay, joining us is Coach Lloyd from the University of Arizona. We'll have him open with a statement, and we'll open to the questions for the media gathered. Coach.
All right. Well, it's good to see everybody. Excited to be here, and have lots of great memories playing in Salt Lake in the NCAA tournament over the years. So, here we go.
Yeah, Tommy. Steve Rivera, allsportstucson.com. Was basketball never ever not going to be in your future as a kid or whenever?
Well, I mean, I think it always was. I fell in love with the game at a young age, and to be honest with you, I kind of fell in love with coaching at a young age. And of course, like all young guys, I probably thought I was going to play in the NBA, and then then I kept playing and realized I wasn't close to good enough. So the coaching bug, really hit me early, and I had some. I was just, like a lot of kids that get into coaching, you're really influenced by your coaches when you're younger, and I had a lot of great coaches, from Little League and youth basketball, and grew up in a small town, so that made a real impact on me. So yeah, I think basketball, me, and coaching were something that was probably always going to be together.
John Kuhn, Associated Press. Coach Monson earlier talked about how you guys went out for pizza and had a nice time together. What was it like being out with him, being able to catch up with him, and what kind of influences he had on just kind of the direction of your coaching career?
Well, I never actually worked for Coach Monson, because he'd kind of give me the opportunity, then he hightailed to Minnesota, and then I was kind of, left there, and then Mark Few inherited me. So he's a great guy. We have a ton of fun together. He's somebody that you're always going to smile and laugh when you're with, and I know he's going through a tough time, and but he's handling it with an incredible grace, and we just. I think he's thankful for all the opportunities he's had and the relationships he's made in this business, and I think we all know it can be a tough business, and there's another side to it, and unfortunately he's going through that right now.
Coach Hayden Silly, Arizona PBS. It's nice to meet you.
Hey.
I wanted to ask about Keyshawn and the experience he brings from San Diego State last year, being in the national championship game. Was there any advice that he gave to any one of the players, or maybe even yourself or your coaching staff, about getting to that point?
Yeah, we're fortunate. We have a lot of guys have their own experiences, with the tournament. Me, Coach Rob, obviously Keyshawn, Caleb, even Umar. They've all been part of those runs, and Keyshawn, he has been very vocal, and I think his message to the guys is, You don't ever assume anything, and it's literally a one game at a time approach. And you got to come out and be willing to lay it on the line in that one game. And so that's been his message to the guys, which I think is, it's simple, but it's beautiful because it's very true.
Tommy, Steve Rivera, allsportstucson.com. What do you talk or say to Caleb? He's in this little slump. Do you tell him to shoot yourself out of it? Just continue to play what you play? What do you say to him?
Well, you're a great player, and you're fine. He's a player like him that is a scorer. They've had these stuffs happen to him before in their career, so they know how to respond. And there's no guarantee that he's going to play really well tomorrow, but I wouldn't be surprised if he did. And I think he's in a good way. He's had a good approach all week, and now we need to get to noon tomorrow and get out on the court, and he needs just to let it rip.
John Kuhn, Associated Press. You look at guys like Keyshawn and Caleb who had those Final Four runs with their past teams. What has that experience done for Arizona in terms of helping you guys be successful this season, prepare for the postseason? How much does their leadership matter to you guys?
It matters a ton. First off, they were significant contributors to teams that made it to the championship game. So that tells you they're really good players, and it takes really good players to have great seasons, and they've been awesome all year. My only regret is that I only get to coach them 1 year, because I've loved coaching them, and they're both just awesome dudes, and I mean, they're a joy to be around every day. They bring it every day. It's been a ton of fun with them, and their experience has been significant, to our success.
Austin Getz, KHQ-TV in Spokane. You were talking about your relationship with Dan. What is it like when the world of basketball brings you also together with Mark and that relationship?
Well, I mean, we're genuine friends. I mean, more than, I think our friendships are before any professional relationships we have. And, and then our wives are friends. Our kids are best friends, more like cousins than friends. So I know all our kids were really excited. They were all together last night, and so it's fun. I mean, it brings a smile to our face because that's what our summers are like. Our summers, everyone at the lake together, hanging out, and so it just comes really easy for us to be around each other, and I mean, I'm grateful for what those two have meant to me.
Tommy, Dan wanted us to let you know that he's going to run the Princeton offense.
Yeah. He told me that 50 times last night.
And what was your reaction? Because he's obviously joking. Or not.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I just thought it would be great to see some semblance of offense. So, no, I mean, hey, listen, he Dan's a veteran, and I think he knows this opportunity he has, and I have no doubt that his team's going to come out, ready to play with a spirited effort tomorrow.
Coach, you were there for so many years at Gonzaga, making the run to the tournament every year, and now you're a head coach, kind of making a similar streak. Do you have a different appreciation for it now that you're a head coach, or has your view on it changed since being a head coach?
I definitely have an appreciation for it. I mean, I don't know if it's different. I mean, it's hard. I mean, I think what we do is hard, and I know we're open for public scrutiny, all that stuff, that's fine, but like, these jobs are hard, and they're hard on your family, and you literally have a 24/7 all-consuming job that it's tough to get away from. And I think one of the greatest gifts Coach Few ever gave me was, he made me feel like an owner. I didn't feel like just an assistant coach there. I felt like, I was in ownership with him of the program. So I felt, the importance of it, and the agony of defeats and all that stuff, and I know hey, and now it's probably magnified a little bit for me. So I definitely have an appreciation for what he's had to go through all those years when I was supporting him. It's not easy. It's definitely not easy. I mean, it's awesome. I love every second of it, but it's not easy. And I think just being able to have this opportunity, being my third year as a head coach, you're like, wow, this guy's done it for 25 years, and Coach Monson's done it for 27 years. I couldn't imagine. So hopefully I can get to that number someday, but yeah, it's a lot.
Jason Chair, Wildcat Authority. Coach, obviously we know what happened last year and all that. How do you deal with maybe an increased pressure on the guys because of that?
There's no increased pressure. I mean, you could fabricate, manufacture anything you want. We've got a 40-minute basketball game tomorrow against another team that's a worthy opponent. We got to come out and play. I mean, there's no, if we're distracted by what happened last year, then maybe we haven't done a good enough job focusing on what we need to do this year.
Brian Peterson with AZ Desert Swarm. When you had Umar Balogun at Gonzaga, you redshirted him the first year, wasn't ready. Limited role that second year, gets into a couple late minutes of an NCAA tournament game. Could you see at that point the potential of a fifth year? Now he's a guy 12 out of 13 double-doubles.
I mean, no. I mean, I couldn't see that. I couldn't see myself being the head coach at Arizona. There's a lot of things, when you go back to when we first had Umar at Gonzaga. And, I'm just really proud of him. I'm really proud of how far he's come. I think those are the stories that need to be celebrated in college basketball these days, because, that to me, that's the essence of what this sport has been about. Kids, transitioning from high school to becoming an adult dealing with adversity, growing, having their own experiences, and Umar's, really stared those down and overcome a lot. I mean, there were some dark days, that last year at Gonzaga. I mean, he got in a pretty tough spot. He wasn't a happy person, and for us to get the opportunity to come down to Arizona, has, I think, been really impactful on his life, and I know he's been really impactful on my life. And so I love where he's at, and I'm grateful that he's a significant contributor to a really good Arizona team.
Coach, this may be a silly question, I don't know, but Dan was talking about his relationships with the players. Few does. You've been adamant. A lot of times we talk to you about how special it is in your relationship with guys like Umar and all that. Was there someone that taught you the importance of that relationship, or is that something you kind of just...
Well, I mean, it's probably a lot how you were raised. I mean, I've always been a relationship person. I've always enjoyed other people's successes. So I just, when I started coaching, at Gonzaga, I was young and I could kind of still get out there with the guys a little bit, and I just realized really early that these relationships are really valuable for me, and they're really impactful on the guys. To have a coach that is willing to put their arm around them and love them like a brother. So yeah, I mean, I think part of it's just basically how you're wired with your personality, but more importantly, you want these relationships to be authentic and organic, but you also want to be intentional, because what I found is, as you get busier in life, and your own kids get older, it's hard to manage a lot of relationships, and so you have to be intentional with the effort and energy you put towards your players, because it's really important, and I don't ever want to lose that or forget that.
Okay, we're going to check our Zoom participants here and see if there are any questions for Coach Lloyd. If you have any questions for Coach Lloyd, please use the raise hand button on the Zoom window, and we'll turn the time over to you. And not seeing any. Do we have any questions for the room? Okay. Thank you, Coach, for your time.
Thank you.
Good luck tomorrow. Thank you, Coach.